Okay, so let's get into this deep dive. We're looking at a source today that's, well, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it definitely presents a challenging view of, how things are structured in modern life.
It puts forward this idea of a system, calls it the matrix, actually.
Right. And not just like a backdrop, but something actively designed.
Designed to do what, exactly, according to this source?
Well, the core argument is it's designed to keep people weak, distracted, and dependent, basically under control.
So it's not seeing struggles as just happening, but as intended features.
Exactly. It lays out some specific ways it claims the system operates.
Okay, like what?
Well, first off, it claims the system works to keep you fat.
Okay, and is that literal? Or
It's partly literal, but more about low energy. The argument is if you're physically drained, feeling sluggish.
you're less likely to push back or even question things?
Precisely. Your physical state impacts your mental clarity and your will to act independently. That's the connection it makes.
Gotcha. Okay, what else?
Tied into that, it argues the system wants you broke.
Financially constrained.
Yeah, it uses the term debt slaves, constantly stressed about money, maybe student loans, mortgages, credit cards, that kind of stuff.
So the idea is, if you're just trying to survive financially,
Your focus is locked onto that. You're not thinking about challenging the system or building something outside of it. You're sort of leashed by the financial pressure.
okay, that makes a certain kind of sense from that perspective. And there was a third thing,
Yes, keeping you scrolling. This one might surprise some people.
scrolling, like on phones.
Exactly. Social media, news feeds, constant entertainment. The source argues this isn't just downtime,
It's a distraction.
a major distraction mechanism, according to this view. It eats up time and mental energy.
Energy that you could be using elsewhere.
Right. Building actual skills, maybe starting something, connecting with people in the real world. If you're always consuming,
You're not creating.
that's the core idea there.
So this combination, low energy, financial stress, constant digital distraction.
The source says this is presented to us, to you, as just normal. Like, this is just modern life.
But it's arguing it's not normal.
It insists it's a deception, a trap, it calls it, a perfectly engineered loop designed to drain you, keep you compliant.
Wow, okay. That's a stark picture. So if that's the trap, does the source offer a way out?
It does. It actually makes a pretty bold claim that anyone can become unstoppable
Unstoppable.
by choosing to unplug from this system it describes.
And unplugging isn't just a vague idea here.
No, it's presented as quite actionable, a set of conscious habits to sort of counteract these forces.
Okay, like what kind of habits?
It starts with waking up early.
Uh-huh. The classic discipline bit.
Exactly. It's framed as fundamental discipline, not just a productivity trend. Discipline is positioned as a weapon against a system that pushes for ease.
Makes sense. What else?
Training the body, physical strength.
Again, connecting physical and mental.
Definitely. The source argues physical strength builds mental toughness, confidence. Overcoming physical challenges builds resilience for, well, everything else. Makes you harder to control, essentially.
Right. And money. It mentioned being broke was part of the trap?
So the counter is stacking cash, but not for luxury. The source is clear on that.
For freedom.
For freedom through ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Financial security equals independence, the ability to make choices not driven purely by need or debt.
Okay. Any other specific actions?
Yeah, prioritizing reading over scrolling. Big distinction made there.
Active learning versus passive consumption.
That's the idea. Reading builds focus, knowledge. Scrolling degrades attention, distracts, and eating real food, not processed stuff.
Back to the energy point. Fueling yourself properly.
Right, counteracting that fat and low energy state it talked about.
And one more thing, I think.
Building something.
Yeah.
Anything. Shifting from being just a consumer to a creator.
Like a business, a skill, art.
Doesn't matter what the source suggests. The act of building is an assertion of agency, a way to opt out of just consuming what the system feeds you.
Now, this source doesn't suggest this is easy, right?
Quite the opposite. It stresses how hard this path is.
And that's the point.
That seems to be the core argument. The matrix, as it calls it, offers ease, comfort, instant gratification. But look where that leads, the source implies.
Whereas escape requires effort, discomfort.
Persistence, yeah. Deliberate struggle, almost.
Which leads to its main idea. Comfort is the real trap.
Comfort is the true cage, is the phrase used. Freedom isn't given, it's earned. through the hard stuff, through sacrifice.
So you have to consciously choose difficulty.
Choose the hard path, basically. Burn the old script, build your own. The source is pretty dramatic here, saying once you see the trap and commit, you don't go back.
You rise with power.
That's the concluding thought. It's a very demanding perspective, arguing real liberation comes from tackling difficulty head-on.
Okay, quite a challenging source we've looked at.
Definitely gives you a lot to think about.
So let's leave our listeners with this, based on that source. If comfort really is the cage, what are you doing today that feels easy? And maybe ask yourself, what could that ease actually be costing you?